I'm Ashley with Floor & Decor, and I'm here with our resident installation expert, George. And today we're gonna do another part of our how-to series, and today we're gonna show you how to install a backsplash. So George, why don't you talk to us a little bit about the steps involved in installing a backsplash? This is a pretty DIY-friendly project, right?
Yep, absolutely. So there's gonna be 4 steps, right, to a job. It's gonna be the preparation of the job, the setting, the grouting, and then the maintenance.
Sealing too, though, right?
Correct. And today we're
depending on the product.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
So do you want to start?
Yeah, let's get into it. I love this tile. I'm so excited about this one. We're gonna do, I guess I'll pick up this one. We're gonna do a non-traditional size here. Subway is just, it's still such a classic look, but they're getting longer, they're getting wider, which is a great, more modern look, but still that traditional Subway tile,
right.
And in this gorgeous blue.
What I like about this one too, because you can do it in a Subway pattern or a straight lay. So I've seen both, and both look fantastic.
Straight lay, linear, traditional brick pattern. Yep. So let's dive right in. What installation pattern are we doing today?
All right, so we're going to do a basic Subway pattern today. Okay. We're going to show you that. Again, you could do many others. But first off, do we want to dive right into the job?
Yes, let's do that.
All right, so let's start with the preparation of the job. So first thing, if you have an existing backsplash with tile, I'd recommend probably pulling everything out. But before you do, as you can see, I made a little hole here to kind of act as an electrical outlet. Yeah. Make sure that you turn off the breaker before you touch anything.
Electrocute yourself.
Yeah, because you can,
Which
hit
you
it.
Probably have before.
I've done it many times. Yes. So it's better to turn off the breaker, and you can unscrew everything and pull it out. And then you want to demo the existing backsplash. So if you have tile and there's drywall, it's real hard just to remove the tile, and you can do tile over tile. We do sell a product you could prime, but I always like to start with a fresh canvas. So I like to remove it. So, and over here we got some tools. You can see, first off, this is important, right? The tape measure is super important. So this is critical. A level, you're gonna need a level. Also, I think it's really important to talk about, especially when we started doing the demolition, you need a hammer, a pry bar, very important, all right? Also, make sure you have your gloves. Yep. And you have your goggles, which is really important. And, like I said earlier, we got some screws here that you could install the backer board with. And then, if you want to snap a chalk, here's a chalk line. I used a pencil because, again, my backsplash is pretty small. Yeah. But if you have a wider area, you could actually snap a chalk line to follow that line. And now, some basic generic tools I like to use. I'll use this during the install. Yeah. This is to keep my job clean. I also use a margin trowel too, right? To, scrape excess mortar off. So these are some of the basics. Also, little level too, if you want to line up the edge where we're going to put our Schluter profile. And
we'll talk more about the trowel when we get to the mortar piece, and the grout float when we get to grouting.
Yeah, and then also just over here, we have, some different cutting options. Here we have a manual cutter. Very easy to use.
DIY friendly.
Absolutely. And then also this is, a little, probably a little much here, but we're also going to use a wet saw to do some of our cuts. I also, I have this grinder here, this 4-inch grinder with the diamond blade you can use as well. When you're using this, you really want to use goggles too, because these things will kick up a lot of dust.
And your blades also, it's important to understand the material that you're using, because that can change the blade that you're going to use, right? So for like glass,
100%,
you have to use a diamond blade, right?
Yeah. So we have glass blades, we have porcelain blades. So that's a great question. We have 4-inch blades, we have 10-inch blades, we have 7-inch blades. So having the right blade is absolutely important.
Yep. All right, so let's dive in. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, so also just real quick, before we start mixing our thin set, right? One last thing I want to touch on. We are going to use, because since this tile does not have a bull nose, a rounded edge, we're going to use this Schluter profile. So you'll help me actually put this piece
here.
Slide
that in once it's there.
Well, we're actually going to install it right away with mortar on top. Okay. Yeah. So let's go ahead and mix our mortar.
All right, so now we're ready to enter the set phase.
Right.
So we've got our mortar already mixed up, and then you're gonna take us through the tools for starting the set phase, yes?
Yes. So
Perfect.
with this tile, right, so this is a wall tile.
Yeah.
And our surface is pretty flat, so we're going to use this 1/4 by 1/4 inch trowel. You can find this in our stores. So this is actually a good quality trowel that'll last for many jobs too if you keep it nice and clean.
Yeah, and the size of the, I guess the teeth on the trowel is important. So it kind of, look at your manufacturer instructions to understand, or talk to one of our associates to figure out which size you need depending on your project.
Right, and the right trowel is going to give you proper coverage, right? So the goal is to really achieve, you know, a very high percentage of coverage on every single tile.
Okay.
So the first thing I'm going to do, again, we got a couple different steps in here. I'm going to first, we're going to key the mortar and we're going to burn the mortar into the wall first. I'll show you how to do that. So we're going to give it like a skim coat. So because I already washed this, gave it a drink of water. So we're going to get the mortar into the board and then I'm going to spread it. But we're also, in just a bit, we're using the Schluter finish piece to finish off the edge. So we're going to show everybody how to use that as well. Now, another key thing I want to talk about is we're going to use an 1/8 of an inch spacer with this. Now, Ashley, what's important is that there's an 1/8 of an inch expansion between the countertop and the backsplash. Okay. And then even if, let's just say this was a cabinet overhang, we do want to leave a little expansion joint all around. So, and then we're going to show that at the end as well. So once we start laying, we're going to start to set these down. And then also want to make sure we grab, I'm going to grab this margin trowel so we can keep our area and our tiles clean so we don't have a bunch of excess mortar flying around. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so I am going to go ahead and just put a little bit on the wall. Let's go, you want to put that aside on that table maybe?
Move that out of your way.
And I'm using a basic thin set mortar since this is a wall tile. And I'm using the Caraplex SG. It's a creamy mortar, very easy to use. But you notice how I'm kind of keying it in. Now I'm going to go ahead and put some mortar out on the wall. And I'm going to trowel it at a 45. You see where I'm holding my trowel? And notice my trowel, the lines of the mortar, how they're going to go one direction. See how it goes all one way? So the reason why we do that is so that when the mortar is drying, the air is going to escape through those lines.
Okay.
You want to go ahead and put this first piece?
We're going to start from here.
Yeah, we're going to start right on that line. See what I like to do too? Let's film this. I'm sure this is going to be, I'm going to take this now. Okay. I'm going to pop this off.
Just in case you...
Yeah, see that coverage? Pretty good coverage.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what I'm looking for. That's why I angle the trowel to 45. So now, let's go ahead. You want to grab another piece?
You're going to pop the spacers in?
Just put those there.
Do we need a spacer between the two shelves?
Yep.
Okay, so that's what gives us our grout line, right?
Yep. Now, what we're going to do is we're actually going to take this piece, okay? You see this? See, notice how I'm going to look at the trapezoids. I'm going to press it in. You notice how it's kind of coming through?
Yep.
So that's going to give us the mortar coverage. Okay. Now, that little 2-foot level behind you, I'm going to grab that and line it up right against here. And you see the bubble? Yep. See how perfect it is? That's what we want.
Nice and level.
Okay, so now...
And then can we just slip this?
Yep.
Put that mortar out there? Okay.
So here we have our cut. Now what I'm going to do too, just to make sure that I got great coverage, Okay, now I'm gonna go put these spacers down there. So the cleaner you are now, the better it is later. So now what I'm gonna do, for the sake of this, I'm actually gonna put some mortar on this piece because now we gotta start our subway pattern. Right?
Okay.
So we're actually gonna take our subway tile. Let me go ahead and mortar one piece here. So now we can keep going.
Mm-hmm. So we let our mortar dry overnight, and now we're ready to grout. So what's the first step?
All right, so the first step is we're gonna remove all these horseshoe spacers from the wall. So they're gonna be pretty easy to remove. And I also have my utility knife here to clean out any excess mortar that's come out because we don't want anything sticking out from the grout. And then we're gonna clean it with the sponge and water. So everything's nice and clean, there's no dust or watermarks on it. And then after we clean it, we're gonna start grouting.
Cool.
And then one last step is we're gonna show you the caulking. We're gonna put a 100% silicone white caulking right here where the countertop meets the backsplash.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's do this.
All right, we're all cleaned up and ready to grout. So what kind of grout are we using and what kind of tools do we need?
All right, so first off with the grout, this is our Flex Color CQ. And you've heard me say this before, but I love this grout because for a do-it-yourselfer, it's ready to use, it's easy to use, it's easy to clean. You never have to seal it, and it's got the best color consistency. So, you know, from pail to pail, the color doesn't change.
Cool.
So for tools, we're gonna use just a grout float, which we sell these in the store. We had a grout float. I'm gonna use a margin trowel to, you know, even scoop, I could scoop some out. And then with the margin trowel, you can even shape some of the corners and keep clean. And then we also have, like, I like these, like a scraper, a putty knife. And I can use it to take off any edges, clean up, square off some of the grout. And then also, as you can see here, we got our clean sponge and water, which we're gonna use for the cleanup. Yep. So I got 2 buckets with sponge and water, and then I got a microfiber towel that we're gonna do the final cleaning with.
Great.
Okay. So, you ready to do it?
I'm ready.
All right.
So we're all done.
Yeah.
So why don't you take us, let's do a quick recap before we sign off.
All right, so we walked through the steps of preparation, which is really key, getting the walls straight, flat, using the right materials. You know, from the planning was important, right? So planning out your backsplash, of course, is probably bigger than this. So be real thorough when planning so you have big cuts, right, and the exposed edges. And then setting, right? We used a pretty basic thin set mortar. It's a small wall tile, so we used a basic polymer modified thin set. Then we use the grout, the ready to use Flex Color CQ, which for a do-it-yourselfer is probably one of the best grouts you know, you can use. And then the last thing, since you don't have to seal the Flex Color CQ, I recommend cleaning it, right? So we sell a pH neutral everyday surface cleaner that, you know, real easy. You could, you know, dampen the surface a little bit, spray the cleaner on. You could use a white scrub pad just for the everyday type of maintenance, right? Or you have to clean it maybe every couple weeks.
Yep.
And that's really about it.
Great.
Yep.
Well, there you have it. Pretty quick and easy project to do with a buddy over a weekend. Beautiful backsplash we finished up with here. So don't forget to visit us in the stores, talk to our knowledgeable associates. They'll help you find everything you need to do your backsplash project.